There's a particular kind of heartbreak that doesn't look dramatic from the outside. It's quiet, private, almost invisible. It's when you care deeply for someone and they don't quite choose you, not fully, not clearly, not in the way that would let you rest. And somehow, instead of walking away, you lean in. You analyze their words, you replay conversations, you tell yourself they're just confused, overwhelmed, scared. You feel the connection, you know it's real, it's just inconsistent. Most people would call this low self-worth or desperation or an inability to let go. But that explanation is too shallow. Because the truth is, loving someone who doesn't choose you isn't random. It isn't weakness, it's a pattern. And patterns have roots. There's more going on here than people realize. When someone is emotionally unavailable or uncertain, the bond doesn't weaken. Often it intensifies. Neuroscience explains part of this. Intermittent reinforcement, the same mechanism that makes gambling addictive, activates dopamine in a way that steady affection does not. When love is unpredictable, your brain becomes alert, focused, invested. You don't just want them, you start chasing the feeling of relief when they finally lean in. A text after silence feels electric. A vulnerable moment feels monumental. The nervous system reads inconsistency as significance. And this isn't because you enjoy suffering. It's because your brain is trying to solve something. Research on attachment patterns suggests that when connection feels uncertain, the threat detection systems in the brain activate. The amygdala becomes more sensitive. The prefrontal cortex starts strategizing. You think more, you feel more, you try harder. Love becomes a puzzle. And if you grew up in an environment where affection, attention, or safety felt conditional or unpredictable, your nervous system may have learned something early on. Connection requires effort. Not conscious effort, survival effort. As a child, you don't walk away from inconsistency, you adapt to it. You become perceptive, attuned, hyper-aware of subtle emotional shifts. You learn to read the room, to anticipate withdrawal, to work for closeness. That adaptation is intelligent. It keeps relationships intact. But years later, when you meet someone who is warm one moment and distant the next, your system doesn't register danger first. It registers familiarity. The body often confuses familiarity with safety. So when someone doesn't fully choose you, something deeper activates. It can feel like destiny, chemistry, depth. In reality, it may be your nervous system recognizing a pattern it already knows how to navigate. And here's the part people rarely say out loud. There can be a quiet sense of purpose in loving someone who isn't fully available. When love is mutual and stable, you receive. When love is uncertain, you perform. You get to be the patient one, the understanding one, the one who sees their potential, the one who stays. There's identity in that. Psychologically, this can connect to what researchers describe as anxious attachment dynamics, not as a diagnosis, but as a spectrum of relational strategies. The strategy isn't cling, it's don't lose connection. And that strategy can make you deeply empathetic, loyal, persistent, capable of seeing nuance where others see inconvenience. Those are not flaws. But there's a cost. When your nervous system equates intensity with intimacy, calm love can feel unfamiliar, even boring. You might find yourself missing the spark of unpredictability, not realizing that the spark was actually anxiety. There's a paradox here. The more someone doesn't choose you, the more you may feel compelled to prove that you're worth choosing. And beneath that drive isn't ego, it's longing. Longing to be seen fully, to be selected without competition, to finally relax into certainty. Ironically,
The pursuit of someone unavailable can feel safer than being fully chosen, because if they never quite commit, you never quite have to risk being truly known. Uncertainty keeps hope alive. Certainty requires vulnerability. This doesn't make you broken, it makes you adaptive. Your system learned that love involves vigilance, so it stays vigilant. It scans for shifts, it overanalyzes tone, it anticipates loss before it happens. And in many areas of life, that vigilance probably serves you well. You notice things others don't. You pick up emotional subtleties. You care deeply.
But in love, hyper-awareness can become hyper-responsibility. You start managing the relationship alone. There's no moral hierarchy here. Avoidant partners aren't villains. Anxious partners aren't victims. These are complementary survival strategies that often find each other with uncanny precision. Different nervous systems organize around connection in different ways. One withdraws to regulate. The other pursues to regulate. Neither is wrong. But when you repeatedly love someone who doesn't choose you, it's worth gently asking what your body is trying to recreate. Not to judge it, to understand it. Because sometimes the attachment isn't just to the person, it's to the hope. Hope that this time, if you try hard enough, stay long enough, love deeply enough, the ending will change. And that hope is powerful. It carries the younger version of you who believed that consistency could be earned, that love could be secured through devotion. There's tenderness in that belief, and there's also exhaustion. At some point, the nervous system begins to crave something different. Not intensity, not uncertainty, safety. The kind where your body isn't scanning for the next withdrawal. The kind where affection doesn't disappear overnight. The kind where being chosen isn't ambiguous. For someone who is used to earning connection, being freely chosen can feel disorienting at first. There's less to prove, less to decode, less to fix, and more space to simply exist. That space can feel unfamiliar, even vulnerable. But unfamiliar doesn't mean wrong. It just means new. Loving someone who doesn't choose you isn't a sign that you lack worth. It's often a sign that your system learned to equate love with effort, and effort feels meaningful. But being chosen consistently, without performance, without persuasion, has its own quiet depth. If any part of this feels uncomfortably accurate, it doesn't mean you've been naive. It means your nervous system has been doing exactly what it was shaped to do. And nervous systems can learn. They can update. They can discover that steadiness is not the absence of passion, but the presence of safety. There's more to explore about how we attach, why certain people feel magnetic, and how our earliest experiences quietly script our adult relationships. If this reflection felt like it was describing something you've never quite put into words, stay with me. There's another layer to this, and it might explain even more than you expect.